Yo, what's up guys? Teacher Paul here, and today we are reacting to a coffee request. If you want to request a video, click over here or buy me a coffee, link is in the description. And thank you so much for the request. Thank you guys, it really helps the channel. Today's request comes from Henoik, and Henoik wants to show me a little bit more about the Sami people. So Henoik says, here are two videos to introduce you to the Sami. I've done the first one, which is a smaller video, and the Sámi people as a whole. Please watch the first one, which I did, and now the second one, which is more in depth. So this is from a channel called Sebastian Ioan. So if you want to watch the video without my commentary, link is in the description. Okay, let's check this out. The Sámi people. If you are Sámi, let me know in the comments and also help me with information that might not be in this video.
One of the least known nations of Europe are the Sami. They've been sharing the continent with the others for about 4 millennia, and yet they remained a unique and mysterious nation for most of us. I think it's time to rectify this, so in this video, we will take a closer look at the history, culture, and challenges faced by one of Europe's indigenous nations.
Nice.
Hi,
let's go.
My name is Sebastian, and you're watching 7 Facts.
7 Facts.
The Sami people have a long and fascinating history dating back over 4,000 years. The Sami are the only remaining indigenous people within the EU who have a distinct culture and language that is not of Indo-European origin. They have inhabited the northern regions of today's Scandinavia, Finland and Russia for thousands of years, living off the land and adapting to the harsh climate. Since the early days of their history,
so they're
the Sami
survivors,
were primarily hunters and gatherers, relying on the land for their sustenance. We presume they lived somewhere along the Volga River and began moving northwest about 2,000 years ago. Those who reached the Finnish lakeland developed into the Sami nation, who, by the way, are a Uralic ethnic group. They lived in small nomadic groups, moving from place to place in search of food and resources. Over time, as they became more skilled at living off the land, they began to develop more settled communities. Despite the challenges of living in such a harsh environment, the Sami managed to thrive and develop a rich and unique culture.
Wow.
They had their own beliefs and traditions, including a strong connection to nature and the spirit world.
That's mighty boina.
They also had their own language, which has survived to this day despite centuries of oppression.
Yay! Henoik is here. That's cool. I was waiting for you so we can do this video. So Henoik, thank you so much for requesting this, and I was waiting for us to do it together so you guys can help me out with more information about the Sami people.
Unfortunately, the Sami people have also faced significant challenges throughout their history. They have been subjected to colonization and forced assimilation by their neighboring countries, which has had a devastating impact on their culture and way of life. In fact, we should establish this from the get-go. The region inhabited by the Sami is called Sápmi, but was known as Lapland for most Europeans and their inhabitants Laplanders, not Sami. That is an offensive and misleading term. Although both Finland and Sweden still have provinces called Lapland, they're not synonymous with the Sápmi region, and that term is never used by the Sami, so neither should we. Despite many challenges, the Sami have remained resilient and have fought to preserve their cultural heritage and way of life.
It's interesting, whenever they say the word resilient, I understand Brazilian. So I almost got shocked here when they said they are resilient. I was like, wait, they're Brazilian? No, but even though we have indigenous tribes in Brazil as well, well, obviously, it's not connected. I don't think it is connected at all. Don't think so, right?
The origins of Sami culture and language are fascinating and unique. The Sami are one of the only indigenous peoples in Europe whose language is not of Indo-European origin, which means that it is not related to the dominant languages of Europe, such as English, French, or German.
Oh, there's the flag.
And to clarify, the United Nations defines indigenous people as a non-dominant group, socially, economically, politically, and culturally
Non-dominant.
distinct, with strong links to territories and natural resources and having a historical continuity with pre-colonial or pre-settler societies. It is a broad definition for sure, but legally speaking, yes, the Sami are an indigenous nation of Europe, along with the Inuits of Greenland and about 40 distinct peoples living within Russia. Anyway, the Sami language is part of the Uralic language family, which includes languages spoken by several other indigenous groups in Russia and nations in Central Europe and the Baltic region.
Hungary, Finland.
Namely, it's a language related to Finnish,
Estonia.
Estonian, Hungarian, which are the popular ones, and Moksha, Mari, Urmut, or Komi, which are not so well known.
Interesting.
Now, I say Sami language, but in
flag.
fact we're talking about more than one language. The Sami
I know that we're still in the beginning of the video, but I hope he talks about the flag, because I see the flag has like a circle in the middle and a lot of different colors. So I hope he talks and explains a little bit of how the flag came to be and what that circle in the middle is representing. Maybe unity? I'm not sure.
is more like a family which has several dialects, and the majority of them are still spoken by tens of thousands of people to this day, although Sami is considered an endangered language.
Aw, man.
Sami culture is
Wait, so you're telling me that in the Sami language you have different dialects as well? And let me know, guys, do all Sami people speak the Sami language? Like, do the Sami teach their children? Like, if you are Sami, do you speak the Sami language? Is it something that the parents always teach their children? Because I know that there are many peoples who don't teach their children their language, and I find that to be very, very sad. You know, when you don't teach your children your mother tongue. But hopefully this will be passed on to the future generations also, because even though it's an endangered language, it should not die. It should be carried out.
Closely tied to the land and the environment.
The circle is the sun and the blue is the moon. Okay.
They have a strong connection to the natural world and have developed a way of life that is sustainable and in harmony with their surroundings. This includes their traditional livelihoods of hunting, fishing, and reindeer herding, which are still an important part of their culture today. One unique aspect of Sami culture is their traditional clothing. The Sami have developed specialized clothing that is designed to withstand the harsh weather conditions of the Arctic North, including very cold temperatures and high winds. They also have a tradition of using bright colors and intricate patterns in their clothing, which is both functional and beautiful.
Functional?
The challenges
How?
of living in such a harsh environment have forced the Sami to develop a rich and diverse culture that is quite unique in the world and certainly in Europe. What they have is a testament to their resilience and their ability to adapt to changing circumstances over thousands of years. The Sami people have faced numerous challenges throughout history, and unfortunately many of these challenges still persist today. From colonization to forced assimilation, the Sami people have struggled to maintain their cultural identity and way of life. During the Middle Ages, the Sami people faced religious persecution as Christianity spread across Europe. The church saw the Sami people's traditional beliefs as pagan and heretical, and missionaries were sent to convert them to Christianity. This, of course, led to the suppression of Sami language and culture. Now, to be clear.
Okay, so the Christians saw the way this is phrased, the Christians saw their tradition as pagan. Was it seen as pagan, or was it pagan and there's nothing wrong with that? Like, is there like a difference? Because the way he structured it, yeah, I'm trying to understand if there's a difference there. They did what they always done.
Yeah.
But not all Christians are, you know, I gotta say that.
Sami do not predate Norse settlement of Scandinavia. Both migrations happened independently, but the Norse became dominant and founded their kingdoms like Norway or Sweden. And
Norway
for
has
many
the biggest
centuries,
population,
the Sami
right?
and the Scandinavians had relatively little contact, with the latter largely ignoring the Sami. But starting from the 17th century, Sweden and Norway began to colonize the Sami lands, displacing many Sami people and taking over their traditional reindeer grazing areas. And this gave birth to conflicts over land and resources, and since the Sami people were a much smaller, less centralized nation, it was them who
Leather
were
and wool.
forced to adapt to new ways of life to survive. In the 19th and 20th centuries, the Sami people again faced forced assimilation policies, particularly in Norway, where the government implemented the policy of Norwegianization. Sami children in Norway, but also Sweden, were taken from their families and sent to boarding schools where they were taught to speak Norwegian or Swedish and forced to abandon their traditional language and culture.
I mean, wasn't there a way to try to preserve their tradition and teach them Norwegian? Since, like, okay, you're gonna live in Norway, learn Norwegian, but also keep your tradition. I don't know. I think times have changed where people respect other people's culture nowadays. But back in the day, it was all about, having their way, like teaching, like you got to be like me, something like that. Let me just read what Lisa said. Pagan is something that is old and have several gods. There are a lot of different religions that is pagan. The Sami religion is pagan, yes. Okay, so it's not perceived as pagan, but it is pagan? Is that what you're saying?
The logic of the authorities was that the Sami were
I don't even know what
and
pagan means, though.
and in need of being civilized.
I know it's associated
Today,
with
the Sami people still
satanic
face
stuff.
discrimination and marginalization in many areas of life, including education, employment, and political representation. Despite efforts to promote and protect,
which many people say it has nothing to do with that. I know it's associated with it, but I don't know. Like the more I look into it, the more you guys teach me and show me, like, no, there's a big difference. That's the misconception. Norway was a young nation, so they were in a period of building Norwegian state, culture, language, and so on. Okay. Yeah.
To promote and protect Sami culture and language, many of them continue to struggle to maintain their traditions and way of life in the face of ongoing challenges. Over time, the Sami people have evolved their way of life to adapt to modern times while still preserving their culture and traditions. Today, many Sami people live in towns and cities, but there are still those who maintain a traditional way of life in the Arctic tundra.
In the Arctic?
One example of this is the practice of Sida, a traditional Sami communal organization that is responsible for managing reindeer herds. The Sida is made up of a group of Sami families who work together to manage the herds, and it is still a vital part of the Sami way of life.
That's awesome.
In addition to reindeer herding, the Sami people also engage in other economic activities such as fishing, hunting, and handicrafts. They are known for their beautiful handcrafted items such as traditional clothing, bags, and jewelry.
Handcrafted,
The Sami people also have a rich musical tradition with a unique style of chanting called yoik, but at the same time their dancing traditions are not that rich. While many Sami people have integrated into modern society, there is still a strong sense of pride in their heritage and a desire to preserve their culture. Sami language and culture schools have been established to ensure the continuation of their traditions. Despite these efforts to adapt to modern times and preserving their culture, the Sami still face discrimination and land rights issues, although no longer at the scale of the previous centuries. And it's this resilience and determination to maintain their cultural heritage that continues to inspire and captivate people around the world.
Paganism is more or less means something isn't Christian, but historically it's used about the religion in a region culture before Christianity was introduced. Okay, so paganism means someone else's tradition or religion. Is that it? Is that what I understood? But can we say maybe paganism is indigenous belief? Is that it? I really don't know, guys. As a teacher in primary school, we do teach Sami culture in the curriculum for every year, and we do celebrate the Sami National Day. even though we do not have any Sami pupils in our school. Okay. Good evening, Ivan.
Reindeer herding is a defining feature of the Sami. It's the traditional way of life for this nation, and it continues to be an important part of their culture and economy. Reindeer are well adapted to the harsh Arctic environment, and they have been essential to the survival of the Sami people for thousands of years. Today, there are around 10,000 Samis who are involved in reindeer herding, and the industry is actually worth millions of dollars each year.
I bet. You know, millions of dollars reindeer herding. You know, working for Santa is definitely a very lucrative business. I'm kidding. I know that Santa isn't real. It was just a Christmas joke.
Reindeer meat is a sought-after delicacy in many countries, and the Sami also use reindeer for their fur,
never heard of
reindeer
meat
antlers.
Before.
However, as you can imagine, their way of reindeer herding faces many challenges. Climate change,
and
industrialization, and infrastructure development have all had a significant impact on the reindeer herding industry. The Sami are also facing competition from other industries, such as mining and forestry, that are encroaching on their traditional land. And yet, these people continue to work hard to preserve their traditional way of life and protect the reindeer herding industry.
Rudolph is very tasty. Oh, Henry, come on. That is so mean. Oh, man. Dang, Rudolph is very tasty. Dang, that's the same thing as saying Babe was very tasty. You remember the movie Babe?
And they are also developing new methods and do adopt new technologies in order to adapt to the changing and challenging conditions, all in an effort to ensure the long-term sustainability of their culture and economy. By now, you should understand that the Sami people have a long history of resistance against various forms of oppression and discrimination that they've had to face throughout history. The policies of the 19th century, the ones that were supposed to civilize the Sami nation, were in fact aimed to eradicate their culture and language. This is fact, not opinion.
Wow.
But in response to such actions, the Sami didn't just stand still and take the heat. They didn't organize revolts or wars that would have been hard, or more accurately borderline impossible, but they did begin to organize politically,
not aggressive, I guess,
demanding recognition of their rights and autonomy. In 1917, the first ever Sami conference was held in Trondheim, Norway, where leaders from different regions gathered to discuss their common concerns. And since then, the Sami political movement has grown and gained momentum with the establishment of several parliaments and councils across the Nordic countries.
Yeah, I bet reindeer from Norway were actually the inspiration of the reindeer of America's Santa Claus. Yeah, when I was watching, when I mentioned the working for Santa just a few minutes ago, that's exactly what I thought. I thought, hey, I think Christmas was based on Nordic traditions, 100%, because you have the Santa Claus. Well, even though I think that might have been Belgian. I don't know, but the reindeers, I definitely believe, and the Arctic, the snow and everything Christmas, I think, comes from Norway. And I'm actually having a realization right now. I think Norway or Nordic countries are the most Christmas countries. I had thought of that before, because you guys were showing me Christmas traditions, but I never thought that the Christmas spirit is definitely 100% Nordic. That is so cool to imagine that, I'm having this opportunity to learn about the OG Christmas, you know what I'm saying?
The Sami parliaments have limited legislative powers, but do serve as consultative bodies on matters related to the Sami people and their rights. In recent years, the Sami people have also become more vocal in their demands for recognition and protection of their land and natural resources, particularly in relation to the mining and energy industries. The Sami parliament in Norway, for example, has opposed the construction of several wind power projects in Sámi, arguing that they would have negative impacts on the environment and their way of life.
Oh, is that why you guys, I saw a video where they were talking about more windmills in Norway, right? And that's why you guys were saying that you're opposed to that. because of the environmental implications and all of that. Is that correct?
The Sami political movement has been successful in raising awareness of the issues faced by their people and advocating for their rights. But as you can imagine, there is still much work to be done in terms of achieving full recognition and autonomy.
What is in her shirt? Bargid belodat, bargi beludaga, barkoe biliedankan, daken, barkoe daken.
Particularly in areas such as education and language rights.
Lisa, you're Sami too?
The Sami have a rich cultural heritage and they are unique and quite distinct from the other European cultures. Except that that's not quite right. The Sami do share both their language and culture with other indigenous peoples around Europe and beyond.
So you guys understand others?
The Sami are closely related to other indigenous peoples in Scandinavia and Russia, including the Nenets, the Komi, the Karelians, and the Finns. These groups share a common history of living off the land and adapting to harsh environmental conditions. Most of these nations are indeed small and do not have their own national states, but are under the sovereignty of other nations. And similarly, most of them have faced assimilation and discrimination policies throughout the centuries. Culturally, the Sami are related to these nations, but language-wise, their relationship with other Europeans broaden. Hungarians, Estonians, and Finns all share a common ancestor with the Sami and all speak languages that are related. All this to say that if you ever imagine that the Sami are not Europeans or that they are somehow outsiders, well, stop it. The Sami are unique.
How are they outsiders if they were in Norway, in Nordic countries?
To make their voices be stronger, the Sami have also formed alliances with other indigenous peoples globally, including the Maori of New Zealand and the First Nations of North America. They have shared experiences of colonization, forced assimilation, and discrimination, and have worked together to promote indigenous rights and self-determination. In recent years, the Sami have become increasingly vocal in their demands for recognition of their rights as an indigenous people, both in their home countries and on the international stage. They have participated in the United Nations Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues and have advocated for the recognition of the Sami Parliament as a representative body for the Sami people.
That is so cool.
The challenges these people have faced throughout the centuries are monumental. But the Sami have shown remarkable resilience and have continued to fight for their cultural heritage and way of life. They are an inspiration to other indigenous peoples around the world who continue to struggle for recognition and respect. And, dare I say it, they are in fact an inspiration to us all.
Nice.
I hope this video was interesting enough to have inspired you to look into it further on your own.
Indeed, 100%. Guys, go subscribe to the channel if you liked it, Sebastian Ioan, and he has a very interesting video. This is a very interesting video about the Sami people. And guys, honestly, like it's for me, I can't imagine like you guys know I'm from a third world country and we were colonized by the Portuguese. We were colonized by Europeans. And it's crazy to think that there are countries like, I don't know if you understand this. Like when I look at other countries and you guys tell me, so this country was never colonized, or sometimes I think of a country and I think, oh, who colonized this country? And then somebody says, nobody, they were never colonized. It's something that is so mind boggling. Like because we're so used to being taught, okay, so you speak Portuguese in Brazil because you were colonized by Portugal. And I keep thinking to myself, okay, yeah, so that's the norm, you know. And then when I see videos like this, the Sami people, I kind of relate to them. Like I understand what it is for you to be colonized, you know what I'm saying? And it's something that you think to yourself, like, I gotta try to look into my history. And what I'm trying to say essentially is like, people here in the UK, they don't have this idea of like, who am I, you know? and then they have to like look into their history, because they were never changed by anyone. They were never colonized by anyone. So it is something that I have spoken to my grandparents, who I have, well, my grandfather passed away, but he was a descendant of Indigenous from Brazil. And these are like conversations that we try to figure out where we came from, you know. And it's something that I think the Sami also need to go through, like try to preserve their original culture, their original language. Like I speak Portuguese. I don't know what, like, I know a few words in Tupi, because my father's name is from Tupi, which means powerful eagle, which is an indigenous language. Powerful eagle, his name. But you know what I'm saying? There are some other countries that have never been colonized. The UK was colonized? No. You're talking about the Sami people? No, what I'm saying is that it's hard to speak to someone that was never colonized, because they don't really understand when you say, I need to preserve my my traditions. You know what I'm saying? Or I need to find out who I am, or something like that. You can't speak to someone who's never been colonized, because they won't understand you like that. So what I'm saying is that watching this, I kind of relate to it. You know, I kind of understand what you guys are talking about, you know, being colonized and trying to, you know, fight for your rights. And I say this as someone who's from a country who has been colonized, and as a person who lives in a foreign country. Listen, I hope you understand. I live here in the UK, where I have somewhat of an American accent, and I am an English teacher, and it kind of hits you like how different I am from the other British teachers. So I have an American accent, living in the UK with a lot of British people around. So it kind of, the imposter syndrome kind of hits, because I am teaching English in the UK as an American with an American accent, kind of. I'm not going to say 100%. Being a foreigner from a country that has English, doesn't have English as a first or second language, where only 1% of the whole population actually has fluent English. You know what I'm saying? So you can understand, like, when I went to college here through Cambridge, I was actually one of the best top students. And it felt good, like to kind of validate that, you know what I'm saying? But it feels like I had to fight much harder for my position there. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. I'm just trying to say that I kind of relate to that with the whole difficulties. Obviously, I have nothing to do with the Sami people. And I believe that they're survivors from what I've seen, like really hardcore. And was the 12th man Sami? Because that would make a lot of sense. Like the survival instincts is incredible. But yeah, colonialism was much more wild back in the day. Yeah, indeed, 100%. But yeah, thank you guys for sharing this with me. Thank you, Henoik. Thank you, Kari. Thank you, everyone who has been, you know, sharing their knowledge and their culture here with me. It's always nice to be educated. So if you guys want to leave a few comments with a little bit more information, that would be great. And yeah, thank you so much, guys. I will see you on the next video. If you want to do like Henoik did, we have a full playlist over here with Sami educational videos, and Yoiking also. Also, we have a speech of Mari Boine. So this is nice. Thank you guys for sharing this with me. And if you guys want to request a video like Henoik did, go over to Buy Me a Coffee. Link is in the description. You can click this button right over here and go watch the Sami playlist over here. Take care now. Bye-bye.